it's Maria from Still Dreaming Homestead. I'm glad you're back with me, or maybe it's your first time. If you like this, please remember to push the like button and subscribe. Also, let anybody know that you think might like these type of stories too. I'm always looking for new subscribers, new people that I can share wonderful stories with. Well, we're continuing on reading our book, The Hermit of Mad River. So this is a Lee Roddy book from the D.J. Dillon series, and I love it. And a lot of other people do too. We're on chapter 3. Tragedy for an Old Powder Monkey. Do you know what a powder monkey is? That was a person who handled explosives. So tragedy for him. The scary feeling of danger stayed with DJ as the family drove to the little community church. When the sedan eased into the parking lot, DJ saw the familiar small frame building with a short steeple. The steeple was filled with thousands of woodpecker holes. The steep corrugated metal roof, now corrugated, they have up and down waves, helped resist fires and made winter snow slide off. Priscilla asked, "Who's that with Kathy?" DJ recognized Thad Thorkel, the boy who had carried the calico cat into the animal hospital. He was smiling at Kathy, and she was smiling back. "I think his name's Thorkel," DJ replied, glowering at the stranger from San Francisco. "In that case," Two Mom said, getting out of the car, "we'd better go over and make him welcome to Stony Ridge." "Ah, Two Mom," DJ protested. Two Mom insisted, and Dad backed her up. The Dillon family walked up to Kathy and the new boy for introductions. Thad wore an expensive hand-tailored dark suit, white shirt, and subdued blue tie. Kathy pointed to each of them in turn. "This is Mr. and Mrs. Dillon, Grandpa Dillon, Priscilla, and DJ." Dad shook hands with the new boy. "Your family with you, Thad?" "That's my father, Norville, over there talking with the preacher." Kathy beamed. "Guess what? Thad and his father are environmentalists just like me. Thad's even been a protester with signs and everything." DJ didn't much like the new kid, though it was hard to say why. What did you protest?" "Oh, lots of things. Mostly against damming the White River Rapids. It's destroying the natural environment and impacting the whole area, like Mad River. That's why we're here." DJ thought the kid sounded as if though he read a lot about the subject. Another thought hit DJ. He wondered if the Thorkins hated the dam enough to threaten blowing it up. But DJ also caught a hopeful sign in the new kid's words. "Then you're not going to live here?" DJ asked. "Oh, no. We're just here for the demonstration. But since this is Palm Sunday, we wanted to go to church. We always do that wherever we go." DJ had mixed feelings. That was good. Thad and his father were only visitors, but it wasn't likely that anyone who went to church would threaten to blow up the dam. Still, DJ didn't much like the new kid. "Well," Dad Dillon said, "there's the bell. We'd all better get inside." In the tiny Sunday school classroom where Kathy's mother taught, Alfred whispered to DJ, "That new kid sure dresses up for these mountains. That suit looks expensive." DJ glanced at the kid and then out on the small window without answering. Suddenly he stiffened. Alfred straightened up to follow his friend's eyes. What's the matter, DJ? The brindle, he whispered. I just saw it. Mrs. Stagg spoke firmly. DJ and Alfred, are you ready to begin the new lesson? Reluctantly, DJ turned away from looking out the window, faced the front of the room and nodded. Alfred waited until the teacher finished her opening prayer. Then he leaned over to whisper, the brindle that attacked Hero? Yes. DJ was tense with excitement. I only got a glimpse of him, but I'm sure. Was he alone? Yes. What's he doing here in Stony Ridge? Before DJ could reply, Mrs. Stagg asked, DJ, what do you think the answer is? The boy squirmed, totally unaware of what the question had been. DJ tried not to look at Mrs. Stagg's blue-green eyes. She was a slender, pretty woman with a dimpled right cheek and short brunette hair. She smiled pleasantly. I asked DJ what you thought it must have been like to have seen Jesus on resurrection morning. DJ glanced at Alfred and shrugged. He wasn't thinking about Easter. You know, DJ, the lay preacher's wife said, her dimple showing more, since you're going to be a writer someday, maybe you could write something special about Easter, perhaps a personal experience essay. Then read it to us next Sunday, Easter morning. The class giggled. And the new kid. Thad wore a gleeful grin. DJ nodded without enthusiasm. Oh, okay. Mrs. Stagg thanked DJ and continued with the lesson, but the boy couldn't concentrate. He kept stealing glances out the window in hopes of seeing the brindle again. After church services, DJ tried to persuade his father to drive around looking for the brindle, but Dad Dillon wouldn't do it. DJ also tried to persuade his father to let him go interview the Hermit that afternoon, but Dad Dillon was firm. No working on Sunday. The Milfords came over to visit, so DJ had Alfred to talk to with part of the afternoon. There's one good thing about seeing that brindle, DJ told Alfred as they sat on the Dillons' front porch after lunch. What's that? Since that pit bull was in town, that means the long-haired man and boy with the other two dogs probably were close by. That's true, Alfred agreed. That's also dangerous, because we may run into them anywhere, even just out walking around. If we did, we could call the animal control officer, have the dogs picked up for attacking Hero. I'd rather find them myself, DJ said firmly. But right now, let's go call the vet and see how Hero's doing. The veterinarian's feminine voice said, there's no change. Do you think he's going to make it? Let's hope so. But we won't know until about Tuesday afternoon, if there's no infection. Meantime, I've done all I can. It's up to nature. And God, DJ thought as he hung up the phone. Then he wasn't quite sure how important a dog was to God. Still, if Hero meant so much to DJ, then probably God cared about Hero too. DJ slept a little better that night. He awakened to the first light, dressed, and told his parents goodbye. He took the tape recorder, his notepad and pencils down to meet Alfred. DJ kept his eyes open for signs of the brindle, but there was nothing moving except the delivery man in the town's small grocery store. Alfred hadn't seen anything either, so the boys walked into the mountains and down the canyon towards Mad River. They spotted the old hermit's one-room shack and started down the narrow trail toward it. DJ glanced ahead. He looked vainly for the old man by the small woodshed. Then a tumbling down garage-like building where he kept a few hand tools, and to the windmill that had long ago collapsed. "We should have heard his old dog barking by now," Alfred said. "Maybe the dog can't hear us. I remember Mr. Ziering said Tug's old and toothless and almost blind. He probably can't hear too well either." As the boys got closer to the rickety shack, that means it just seemed like it was going to fall down, nestled under the stand of incense cedar and ponderosa pines, DJ half expected to see Zeke Ziering come out from the split log front porch. The boy could clearly remember when he and his father had first come up to the shack at dusk a long time ago. The old man had come out with a coal oil lantern. Suddenly, DJ stopped dead. "Listen!" Alfred cocked his head. "Sounds like somebody's crying." "Couldn't be Mr. Ziering," Dad said softly. "What would he have to cry about?" The boys raced to trace the sound around the corner of the rough-hewn lumber that made up the little home. The hermit's back was to the boy. Zeke Ziering was crouched under a very small young cedar with wide spreading branches that swept gracefully to the ground. DJ saw the man wore threadbare brown striped railroad overalls, a patched blue work shirt, and sweat-stained fedora. I don't know what a fedora is, so let's look that up and see. Fedora. A soft felt hat with crown creased lengthwise this way and a curled brim, so the brim would curl up. It was a hat. "Mr. Ziering," DJ called softly, hearing the sobbing sounds. Slowly the old hermit turned around and rose. He held a short-handled shovel. He was of medium height, well along in years, with a grizzled face that showed he hadn't shaved in many a day. He probably hadn't taken a bath for much longer, DJ realized. There were tear stains down the hermit's cheeks. He spoke in a broken voice. "They done killed my dog." For the first time, DJ saw the freshly covered grave under the deep shade of the young cedar tree. "I'm sorry," DJ exclaimed, feeling so keenly the possible death of his own dog. Alfred asked, "Who killed your dog?" "Don't rightly know." The hermit's voice was low and filled with anguish. "I went fishing at sunup. An old Tug come along with me, but he got tired, I guess, and he come home by himself. I heard him a-fighting some other dogs and some people's voices, so I come a-running. But it was too late." DJ's heart nearly stopped. "Did you see them?" The old man shook his head. "Just heard the voices. Didn't see nobody, 'ceptin' 3 dogs." He wiped his eyes on his left sleeve and waved the shovel towards the dense forest. "There were 2 big ones and a brindle-colored pit bull. Or were there 2 big ones and a brindle-colored pit bull?" DJ asked breathlessly. The hermit's eyes blazed. "That's them. Tell me where you seen him, and I'll take my double-barrel shotgun to the lot of them for killing my poor old toothless hound." DJ started to answer when the man's voice called from deep the shadows of ponderosa behind the clearing. "Hello? Anybody home?" The hermit yelled, "You coming friendly?" "Friendly?" the voice called. "Sheriff's office. Okay to come on in?" "Come on in," the hermit called. He dragged his shovel and rubbed his hands on his overalls. "Now, boys, what in thunder would the law be doing out here? Reckon they already know about my dog being killed?" DJ saw the ununiformed deputy come carefully forward, followed by a plainclothesman. They stopped well back from the old man and the boys. "I'm Deputy Carlin," the uniformed officer said. "This is Detective Sergeant Pedofsky. You're Zeke Ziering?" "Sure am. What can I do for you fellers?" "Who are these boys?" the plainclothesman asked. "I'm DJ Dillon, and this is Alfred Milford." "Are you Caleb Dillon's grandson?" the uniformed deputy asked. DJ nodded. "Yes, Mr. Kirsten, the newspaper editor, asked me to come interview Mr. Ziering. We just got here. A dog pack killed his hound." DJ indicated the new grave. "We're sorry," the detective sergeant said. "We'll send an animal control officer out to take your statement. Now, Mr. Ziering, if it's okay with you, we'll look around." "Why, I reckon so. But what you looking for?" "Somebody's threatening to blow up the new dam, and we're searching for some stolen dynamite." The old hermit managed a weak smile. "Well, now, you won't find any of that hereabouts, so help yourselves to a look-see." "Thanks," the two officers said together. They walked up to the old rickety old porch and entered the shack. The hermit shook his head. "Boys, I wish they'd never built that dam. But I ain't the type that would do harm. Although if I wanted to. See, I used to be a powder monkey, someone that used explosives." DJ asked, "What's a powder monkey?" "That's what they call us men who handled the dynamite for blasting back in the old days. I'd drill and tamp, that's to press, the sticks in real good, light the fuse, and run. I'd yell, 'Fire in the hole!' and everybody'd take cover. Me too. Then there'd be this awful boom. The whole mountain would jump up and the ground would shake. But that was a long time ago." He let his voice trail off as the officers came out of the door. The uniformed one was carrying a stout wooden box with "Danger," explosives printed on it in big letters. The hermit exclaimed, "Now, where in tarnations did you fellers get that?" The plainclothesman cleared his throat. "Mr. Ziering, you're under arrest for suspicion of threatening to blow up the dam. You have the right to remain silent." DJ didn't hear the rest, but he knew the officer was reading Mr. Ziering his rights. When that was completed, he handcuffed the old man's hands behind his back. DJ had watched in stunned silence. Now he protested. "There's got to be some mistake. Mr. Ziering wouldn't do anything like that. Why, once he saved my dog's life." The uniformed officer interrupted. "You may get a chance to tell it to the judge. Now you boys better get on home." The hermit had seemed so surprised he hadn't said anything since being arrested. Now he cried, "Looky here, Mr. Lawman, I don't know where that dynamite came from, nor nothing about no threat to no dam. You've got the wrong man." "That's what they all say," the plainclothesman officer answered wearily. Well, let's get out of here so we can book you in the county jail. You boys better get moving towards home. The hermit turned his bloodshot eyes towards DJ. I remember you and your little dog. Dylan, is it? Yes, DJ Dylan. Well, now I can rightly say I've got me a friend in this whole world, and that one's you. Fact is, I ain't got nothing except trouble this day. You gonna stay, my friend, or you gonna all go cut and run through, though these lawmen done got the wrong men? DJ glanced at Alfred, then at the hermit. You've got two friends, Mr. Ziering. We'll stand with you. Thank ye kindly, boys. Now, would you mind finishing off old Tug's grave for me? I'd be much obliged. We'll finish, DJ said softly. Now don't worry. We believe you're innocent, and we'll help you prove it. As soon as the three men turned towards the trail into the Ponderosas, Alfred demanded, What do you say that for, DJ? I don't know. He picked up the shovel. But I gave my word. Alfred groaned, Ugh. As if you didn't have enough troubles already. After the boys finished their sad task, they stood silently looking down at the fresh mound of dirt under the cedar. DJ hoped Hero wouldn't have to be buried soon. As they left the hermit's place, Alfred asked, Do you think kids our age can visit Mr. Ziering in jail? We've still got to interview him for the newspaper. DJ had forgotten all about his assignment. I guess we'll have to call and find out. The friends climbed out of the river canyon and entered the open meadow with a few scattered conifers. Remember, those are evergreen trees that don't lose they have needles on them instead of leaves, and they don't lose those in the winter. A small stand of evergreen trees grew straight ahead of the boys at the meadow's end. On the right, the meadow slanted steeply upward towards a mountain called Lookout Peak. There was a cross at the top where Easter sunrise services were held each year. To the boys' left, the meadow ended in a canyon rim above the river. DJ said, You know, if Mr. Ziering really is innocent and somebody is framing him, then they're liable to come after us for getting involved. We're just helping a man who once saved my dog's life. Maybe whoever framed him doesn't know that or doesn't care. Until Saturday, we never saw that bearded man or his kid before or their dogs. So they're strangers. What were they doing at the hermit's place this morning? Maybe hiding the dynamite the deputies found? What? Alfred cried. Don't you see it? It's logical. Tug came home and surprised those two and their three dogs, but they all ran off into the woods as Mr. Ziering never saw anyone, just the dogs. So maybe they haven't gone very far. As if in confirmation, two big dog voices sounded from the stand of timber in the meadow's edge. A smaller dog answered from straight ahead. Alfred explained, That's them. What do we do? Run? No, we can't outrun them. Climb one of those trees. Those dogs are closing in fast. And that's the end of chapter 3. Poor Mr. Ziering. And I hope those boys get up that tree quick. Well, this is Maria from Still Dreaming Homestead. I want to pray blessings on you and yours, in your house, out of your house, in the day and the night. Whatever you do, keep dreaming. Keep a story in your heart. All right. Good night for now.